I'm Snehashish, and in this video we are going to talk about Nected's new feature called version control and rollback. So Nected has introduced with a new feature called version controlling and rollback. In this feature, the user can check their versions of their created rules and workflow, and they can roll back to their previous versions uh, of the rule and the workflow. So if a user has created a rule, let me go to the rule page. There this type of rules will be listed, and if I click on any of the rule like this one, in the right side of the rule editor there is the gear icon which shows for the setting. uh, just after that option we have this version control section. Now this version control section has 4 tabs. One is draft, one is in review, one is published, and one is archive. Now these 4 tabs has their 4 unique purposes. The draft version shows that how many draft versions of this rule is there in my version control, like how many versions of how many draft versions I have of this rule. Currently I have just one draft version of this whole rule, so I am just seeing, I can see that one draft version. Now there is some options I can see. One is for request for approval. This is a button where in the drop down option I can click on that, and I can change it to either publish or either for request review. Now I will come back to this point later, but let's see other features as well first. Here is an option called view comments. So this is also if I'm collaborating with one of my team member, and they are actually reviewing this rule which I have created, and they are reviewing it to publish it, then they can add comments which I can see in this comment section. In this 3 dot I can click on archive and it will go to this archive tab. Now let's come back to the in review tab. Now there is no item in review, so I have not added any item in review, so that's why it is not there. But to if you have not toggled one option on, then you will not see this thing. The option is inside the workspace. Inside the workspace page you have an option called approval flow, which you need to toggle on first. If I toggle this off and go back to the same rule and click on the version control tab and go for the in review, there is a message calling that click here to enable the approval flow to use it here. So without toggling on the approval flow I cannot submit my rule into review, so I need to click here and toggle this approval flow on, and I need to save it. So what it does basically, if I have a team like this, I can add any of the team member which I want to review my rule, like this one. So let's click this rule, and if you go here you can see I have a reviewed in review version of this rule, and the current version is in review. Now I can also click on this 3 dot and I can archive this and just send to archive. I need to explain the detail. I can write anything and I can click on send to archive, and it will be added to archive. So now I have the draft version, I don't have any in review version, and I have a archived version. Here as well I can click on this preview button now, and I can actually preview the rule which is in the archive. Now if I click in this button again, I can see the archived version here in the version control. And now coming back to the published tab, here is as well I can see a published version of this rule, which is this one. So it is the published version, and if I go to the version control tab, I can see that in 3rd June 2024 I have published this rule, and there is no comments again. So that's all pretty much about this version control inside a rule editor. Now let's see how can I add this discounting rule into in review. How is the process? So I will click on this discounting rule first, and then I will test it. First step is test it. So I will add location, let's say India, and the product name is iPhone. Let's say I will test it, and it is perfectly working. And now what we will do, we will close it. Just give me a second. And after doing that, we have enabled this option which was previously published. Now we have a request for review, and if I want to change it, I can just click on this drop down button and I can change it to publish. I have to test it again, and then I can publish it. But now I just want to request a review for this discounting rule. Let's click on this button. I need to give a title which is currently given draft. I can explain this topic. Let's say explain, and I need to add a reviewer like this, and I will click on request review button, and the current version is in review. Now the reviewer will review this rule, and if the reviewer thinks that we need to publish it, they will publish it from here. And now if I go to the same option for version control, I can see this version is added in review. So this is how the version controlling and rollback feature works. I can again publish it from here if I am the reviewer, or I just want to publish it from here, I can publish it. So this is how the thing works in version controlling and rollback inside a rule. Now let's see how the thing works inside workflow. To do so, we will go to the workflow tab first, and inside that we will open the sample workflow. And here is again at the same place, we have the setting tab first, then we have this version control tab, version control section, and here we have the 4 tab as we had in rule, and we can do the same thing as we did inside the rule. So this is how the version controlling thing works inside Nected, and you can use it, you can utilize it to check your previous versions, check your comments, so that you can improve your rule, and you can roll back to a previous version by previewing it and by checking it what differences you have. You can also compare that what things you have done wrong in the newer version, if you have done anything wrong, and that's all. So that's all for this video. Thank you for watching.